Hey kids, I got a lesson for you today. And ladies, some grooming tips for yourself. Now, how can you get grooming tips from a bloody hand? Well, because this is Saturday, I'm in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi and there's no hospitals nearby. When I cut myself being stupid, I had to figure out how to stop the bleeding because it wouldn't stop bleeding after I wrapped it twice with electrical tape. And yeah, it just wouldn't stop. And I wanted to make a flap, put the flap of the skin over because it was down to the bone, and I don't want it to start growing back all funky. So, kind of by accident, I had some super glue. This is Radio Shack super glue from my last job, and you want to make sure that it says caution, bonds skin. That's a good thing. See, in this case, what I did was I opened up the flap. You always want to use hydrogen peroxide, of course, and rubbing alcohol to cleanse it before you do anything. So you open up the flap right here as far as it'll go, clean it out. I had some Lysol wipes I was wiping it out with, and then get some Q-tips in there and whatnot, get it all clean, nice and good, and then you just take the little dripper over here and open up the flap, put a bunch of drops in there. While it's bleeding, it'll stop bleeding almost instantly because it'll congeal the blood altogether. It's really awesome. I've used it for small cuts, but I didn't really think about it till I found out I lost my med kit somehow when I needed it. So anyway, if you got a cut somewhere and you need some instant relief or in a holding pattern until you get to the medical office somewhere, just drop some super glue into the cut, and then what you want to do is squeeze. I can't do it with one hand, I'm holding the camera. Squeeze together on both sides to squeeze out as much of the blood that's in there as possible, along with the super glue after you put the drops in there, and it'll just close itself and seal itself. It's really awesome. I never really expected it to work this well on a cut this deep because it was down to the bone, and it's not bleeding anymore. And I put a layer of super glue over the top of it right here. That's why it's all shiny and weird. So at least it'll start the healing process and it won't get infected as much, hopefully, because it'll be kind of sealed from the outside elements, which is what you want primarily. Plus, the skin is put back together. When you squeeze it, you want to squeeze it back into the original position. Thankfully, I used a brand new blade when I was cutting a zip tie, and I wasn't paying attention really. That's how I slashed myself to begin with. But yeah, just make sure you can get it as closed as possible with your wound. Just press it together as much as possible, and it'll close it. Right now there's a big old bump because there's a little bit of blood still in there, and there's a bunch of super glue right there. But you want to just squeeze out as much as possible, and the super glue will do the rest. It's really a miracle worker in that regard. So anyway, oh, and the beauty part, ladies, see this right here, how white my skin is right there? That's because I got super glue on it and I was peeling it off because I was like, I'm trying to get it off. My finger was stuck there when I was pushing it together. So it just pulled that off. So if you ever got really dirty skin and you're trying to get rid of it quickly, just put some super glue on it and then peel it right off. It'll pull out every little pigment you've ever had in there since you had new skin. It works really well. What else? Yeah, anyway, that's my little DIY for the day. And it works out pretty good. And just don't move it too much, of course, because you'll break it. It's just like instant stitches pretty much. So I hope this will come in handy for you someday. And have a great day.